everybody. It's old J.R. Willis coming at you again down here from good old Philadelphia, Mississippi. Hope y'all doing good this morning. Do my little daily blog in here. Kind of like doing kind of a daily diary, so to speak. It's a lot easier than writing everything down. And I can make some new friends in the process. So it's a win-win situation. Maybe some of y'all on there on the internet can relate to some of the things that I have going on. Well, yesterday I made a little VHS horror top 12 review for October, since it's Halloween season. As you can see from the background over here, I got a lot of VHS tapes. I never threw them out. I didn't get the memo that those things was obsolete, so I just kept on getting them, and they kept getting cheaper and cheaper, so I kept getting more and more. Now I probably got, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 tapes. This little bit back behind me here ain't drop in the bucket. I got tapes all over this house, in the closets, packed everywhere, and I just can't bear to get rid of them. I've had to cut back on collecting VHS, though, because like I said, I'm running out of space. That's one problem I got. You know, like this house, we got 3 people living here, and it's pretty tight squeeze, all this stuff, because I am a collector, or that's a fancy way of saying hoarder, I suppose. But I got a lot of stuff. I need to build onto the house and make a special room just for all my junk. It always wind up overflowing though. No matter how big of a room or house I got, I'm pretty sure I could fill it up with all kind of collection. I need to open up some kind of museum or something. I love antiques and vintage stuff, old stuff. I'm a very nostalgic person, if you ain't figured that out already. But I love to, you know, when I go to a thrift store or flea market, that's where I like to get stuff at. I don't like buying new stuff very often, like you can tell from my phone review. It just seems like the newer stuff is just made to tear up. They make it to last very least amount of time they can possibly make it last, it seems like. That's one thing about older stuff, man. It'll last a long time. It's like, for example, I'll show you something right here. Let me set this coffee down before I make a mess. This old fan right here. Now, my dad found this fan years ago. I'm not sure what kind it is. It's got a stamp on it. No, I can't make it out good. It's so old. Yeah, I'd have to have a flashlight probably. I can't tell what kind it is. I mean, excuse me. Anyway, Dad found that old fan up under an old house, and they used it, and we used it around here for years and years. I lived in Tennessee for about a decade, and I moved back to Mississippi, and this old fan, Mom and Dad had it sitting out there on the front porch, and it looked like it had been raining on it, and it was, you know, had a lot of rust and grime all over it. I figured they gave up on it. And I took it apart and cleaned everything in the inside down with WD-40 and everything real good. Plugged it in. Still works like a charm, man. And that fan right there puts out more air than a big box window fan will. The metal blades just, there's something about them, man, they put out, you know. And if they get bent or something, like I'm looking at a little bent place right now, and I've seen it get bent before because the guard came off and it got bumped against something, you can take and straighten them right back out. You can keep reusing it, fixing it, and using it for years. I mean, that fan, I don't know how old it is. I bet it's 70 years old probably, or older. And it's in my opinion, it's the best fan I got in this house. I love them, and talking about being a collector, I'd love to get some more old fans like that, because they are my favorite. They put out better. Something about them metal blades are just puts out cooler air a lot, and it's just more powerful. I guess them plastic blades kind of got a give to it, and the metal gets cooler, you know, and it almost kind of feels like it kind of cools the air as it blows it. I love those old metal fans. That thing has survived, and I've had plastic ones by the dozen growing up and during my lifetime that's tore up and long ago threw away, you know, and that right there just keeps hanging around. So I was looking online yesterday, I guess, or a couple days ago, and I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, and I saw a couple of them on there. Man, they was getting a big price for them old fans like that. So if you got them, I suggest hang on to them or give them to me. Sell them to me at a reasonable price, of course. And that's another thing, it's getting harder and harder to find old stuff like that for a reasonable price. Like anything else for that matter, but everybody's watched all these TV shows, you know, and seen all these people collecting old stuff, and seems like everybody thinks that anything that's over 20 or 30 years old is a collector's item, and they want to charge top price for stuff. Even at flea markets these days, it's hit and miss. Some people, you'll get stuff for the old prices, you know, El Cheapo. And then sometimes you'll have people that'll have their stuff at top price. That's just like, well, case in point. I don't know if that jug right over there. I got that up to Flea Market in Neshoba County, and I paid $30 for it, you know, which is pretty much top retail. I mean, yeah, they'll go a little higher than that. But the deal is, if you order it, say, I like to collect those old jugs, you know, and if you order it off eBay, you'll pay every bit of $30 or better. Some of them 50 and 60, some of them even $100, just depending on the jug, you know, and some of them even more. But then you'll pay another $20 shipping and handling, because they're pretty heavy, and the price of shipping has went up. So, I mean, you know, $30 in person, no shipping and handling, no tax, was about as good of a retail price as I was going to get. But then this jug right here, which in my opinion is maybe a little cooler than that, I only paid $10 for it at a thrift store. So, you know, it's real hit and miss with stuff like that. It's just, you never know what you're going to get. But that's kind of the fun of looking around at thrift stores and flea markets. Sometime maybe I'll make a little video going to the thrift store, going to the flea market. We go to the flea market every weekend and set up, and we make a few little handicraft stuff. Nikki makes like resin stuff, ashtrays and whatnot, and she sells a lot of that stuff, and also tie-dye shirts and like earrings and stuff. She makes a lot of stuff like that and sells a good bit of it there at the flea market. And then we sell, you know, just used clothes and stuff. If we find some that we can get for nothing or for a real good deal, we'll take it up there and sell it real cheap. And just whatever it. And if we try to clear out any little junk around here, we'll take it up there. But we just kind of enjoy going. We both like going to flea markets. I always have. when I used to live in Nashville, they had a gigantic flea market there, and it was once a month, and I believe it was the third Saturday or the fourth Saturday. I can't remember, but then I mean, that thing, it was up to state fairgrounds, and it would take all day to walk it over and look at everything, and you still ain't gonna be able to see every single little thing, but you can, roughly look at go by every booth, but it'll take you 6 or 8 hours to do it. And we just had a good time. We'd get together, some friends and I, and same people that like that kind of stuff, and we'd walk around. And I found some really great deals, and again, it's the same kind of thing. Some people want top retail, and then again, sometimes you'll find stuff for a real bargain. So it's just hit and miss, but it's just a lot of fun to go and walk around. They don't have quite as many big flea markets around here. I've always heard there's a real nice one at Canton, Mississippi, and I don't know if it's already taken place or if it's coming up, but I want to look into that. I'd like to go up there. And also, they have this big Highway 15 yard sale thing that's pretty fun. They'll do I think it starts somewhere around Union, Mississippi, and it goes on up north. I can't quite remember how far, but it goes a pretty good ways up there. And there'll just be people setting stuff up along Highway 15 in their yards. And you're liable to find anything. And yard sales are a great place to find really cool stuff for a reasonable price. And I like going to estate sales, and I need to do that now because I need to get some more tools. Before Dad passed away, he had basically all the tools you needed. And like I said, I was living in Tennessee, and he asked me, he said, I'm getting to where I ain't able to get out there and work in the shop. He had a woodworking shop, like to do that kind of stuff. And he said, I'm thinking about selling some of them tools instead of just leaving them out there. And I said, well, Dad, whatever you want to do. He said, well, do you mind, He said, because if you want to keep them, I'm going to leave them to you anyway, because I'm an only child. And I said, no, Dad, if you want to sell them, just do whatever you want to do. So he wound up selling most of his stuff. And I wish I'd told him to keep it now. But, whatever. He probably could have used the money at the time. But now I'm in the process of there's some tools I need to pick up. I need to get a belt sander, and really I could use a planer, and maybe even a lathe and a drill press. So, that's a pretty good bit of money if you buy it new. So I'm going to start looking around. At Facebook Marketplace, sometimes I find a pretty good deals on stuff on there. A lot of little things I'd like to buy right now. And another thing, that brings up the topic of is, how the value of the dollar's decreased so badly after Corona, man. I had what money I had saved, basically my life savings, is not like big gigantic amount at all. But it was enough to get me out of a tight spot. But I'll tell you what, man, I figured, well, I saved it and didn't really buy gold or nothing like that, just saved it as money. And I figured, the value of the dollar was slowly declining, but it wasn't. They love it, folks. I don't know why, but they do. But I can't say nothing. I got a motorcycle that's just as louder than most of these trucks. But to be honest with you, it kind of gets on my nerves that it's so loud. I wish it wasn't. That's just the way it was when I bought it. And I may sell the darn thing at some point. It's a chopper, and it's just kind of an obnoxious thing, but it's pretty. It's kind of a show bike. But I keep hanging on to it, so I don't know if I'm gonna sell it or not. I thought about selling it and getting a Heritage Softail or trading it for one. It's more my style. That chopper's a little too fancy for me. I always wanted one, and I had the extra money at the time, and one was available, so I bought it. It's got a 2000 model Harley twin cam, 88 twin cam on it, and it's the build. It was on an FLHT, and then in 2007, I think that the Road King or whatever that is that it was on was in an accident. It damaged the frame or something, and they took it off, took the motor. It didn't hurt the motor, and they got one of those frames out of Canada. It was back in early 2000s when it was the big chopper craze. You know, you had all these TV shows, West Coast choppers and Orange County and all that stuff. And everybody was putting these bikes together. They wanted to be like Jesse James or whatever and build their own motorcycles. So they was getting all these, I call them a kit bike. You know, they'd get these pre-manufactured chopper frames and stick a motor in it. A lot of times they'd put a S&S motor in it or something like that. But this particular one, they did put a real Harley motor in it, and they got the frame out of Canada. I believe the frame was called Iron Horse or something like that, made in Canada. It's raked way out. It's got a Springer front end on it. It's a real pretty motorcycle. I hate to get rid of it. That's why I haven't. I keep hanging on to it. But, you know, it is a little obnoxious for me. It's a real long thing. I mean, I think it measures 5 foot. Measures 9 foot long. You can't put it in a regular trailer. It takes up the whole road to turn the thing around. But it's pretty, so I keep hanging on to it. Like I said, I'm a collector. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I digress. I was talking about, you know, how the value of the dollar dropped. I was, you know, back during that time period, I was making plenty of money, and I was saving money every week, and I built up my savings a little bit, and the value of the dollar was kind of staying about the same. I didn't think about it just crashing like it has. Then all this stuff happened with Corona, and I moved back down home. So I work for my mom as a caregiver, but I don't get paid for that. I don't have any income. I'm not putting up any savings anymore. So, you know, then Corona after that, man, my savings has decreased in value at least a quarter, you know, at least 25%. And that's a big chunk of change. It's got me thinking I need to take what I got left and buy something I can use with it. Years ago, I thought about buying gold, and I wish I had done it because it's held its value. It's increased. I remember, I mean, it would have doubled my money. I wish I had done it. And it's not, I could do it now with what little bit I got left. But I don't know, you know, what is the intrinsic value of gold? I mean, yeah, it holds its value, but we're on the precipice of a whole new era with cryptocurrency and whatnot. Who knows about the value of even gold anymore? Everything seems volatile to me at this point. I'm at the point where I'm thinking I need to take what money I do got and buy things I can actually use with it. You know, we don't have a well here, and I've been thinking about trying to get a well put in or something like that. I would like to get solar power put on the house, but I'll tell you, from what I've researched, it's very pricey. So I don't know. We'll just have to play it by ear on all that. One day at a time, as they say. And, you know, like I said before, you know, got that legal issue stuff going on up in Neshoba County, and I don't know what that's going to cost me. So I wish I could get all that behind me and settled. Then I'd know what kind of decision to make about investing any money or not. Because if I'm going to owe them a whole lot, I need to be able to pay it. I hate it. Folks, that's why I said, you know, if you drink and you can handle your drinking and not get no consequences of it, more power to you. And I ain't got nothing against folks that do. I got a lot of friends that can handle their liquor. But I tell you, I have learned my lesson. I hope. I think right now I have, but I thought I had before, and I picked it up again. After 9 years of not drinking, I picked it up again, and it seems like every time I start drinking, you know, I wind up getting some kind of problems because of it. I'm not myself when I drink. If I drink, you know, and again, I'm not really a social drinker. I'm the kind of guy that when I drink to get drunk. Unfortunately, I've got that. I start craving more when I drink one or two. I just want to drink more. I've got a gluttonous personality, I guess you could call it. And next thing you know, I get blackout drunk. I start turning into a butthole, you know, showing out and just doing things that I wouldn't normally do, and I wind up getting in trouble. It's happened to me at least 3 different times that I've gotten drunk and gotten in trouble with the cops on account of it. And now I've done it again, and I still got to go to court over that. And who knows exactly what's going to happen. I mean, I don't think they're going to lock me up. I hope not. It's not really a big thing that I got in trouble for. I imagine I'm just going to have to spend more money, you know. It sucks because it feels like you're just throwing money away. I mean, I've learned my lesson right now. Just the stress of having to sit here and not know what's going to happen is torture enough. And we've already spent $3,000 on a lawyer, plus $700 for me to get bonded out. So it's just, that's a mess. I really screwed up, you know. So, but all I can do is do what I got to do, pay what I got to pay, and get it over with. I'll just be glad when it is all over with, and I can look back and say, well, I've learned my lesson. And it's a pricey one, you know. So I know I can't afford to drink alcohol. It just does not work out for me. Some people can, some people can't, and I can't. But anyway, folks, I've been blabbing about 22 minutes, it looks like. So I try not to talk much longer than that, because my God, if you can listen to me talk for 20 minutes, you're a saint and a scholar. Well, because I don't know if I could listen to myself. I try to watch my own videos, though. That way I make sure I don't put nothing too doggone offensive in there. But anyhow, I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all for tuning in, and hope y'all have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow or the next day sometime. I'll see you next time.